Right, hello everyone, I am Hibblejaybob, and you are probably wondering what on earth this is on your screen just now. So, this is my new channel, Hibblejaybob Gaming, and I'm launching a new schedule for it, so it's going to be a little bit more rigid than it has been so far. And one of the series, so today, which is Friday, is going to be Nostalgia Trip. Now, I did have a big long list of games I wanted to do for the Nostalgia Trip, and then right before I recorded some videos, I meant to apologise for actually being quite teary and upset during the videos, because I watched Titanic, the film, James Cameron's Titanic, and the nearer to God scene always gets me every single time. And I hit upon a great idea that for my first game in the Nostalgia Trip series, we're going to do Titanic, an Adventure Out of Time. Now, the game kind of dives in reasonably quickly and reasonably loud, which is why I've got everything on mute at the moment. But let's dive into the game. Okay, so as you can tell, we are not on the Titanic, which is potentially a little bit confusing, but we are here in a little tiny London flat. So we've got a look at the Titanic. Now, the scary thing to kind of acknowledge is this game came out when it was in 1997. It came out when I was just 6 years old, and it's been 20 years since the game came out. And of course, by modern standards, they're not good, but these graphics are no way bad at all. Like, I'm actually, you know, I was expecting to be playing this game looking at rose-tinted goggles, but I'm actually quite impressed at how well the graphics have stood up. Anyway, this is a little model of the Titanic, and some memories. Titanic sinks, so many perish. 4 hours after striking an iceberg. Oh dear. So yeah, this is our crummy little flat. Oh, somebody's at our door.
About time you're awake. You're 2 weeks late with the rent. Oh, I know a tenant in arrears is not a tenant all good enough.
The RAF has struck enemy aircraft.
So this is our It's a very typical London angry person. If you try and escape,
Sneaking out, are you? I want me money.
shut up. So if we have a look on here, we've basically got this. So Nazi bombers hit the city. So we've got newspapers and a bag, which will become quite familiar. And then we're going to check on this. Now, I did a little kind of trial playthrough just for the first 5 minutes to see if everything in the game was working correctly, and we've got a couple of minutes to kill. So I just very, very quickly want to check something, and then I'll show you what it is that I'm looking up. Yeah. Okay. So basically, we've got a desk here which is full of memorabilia. So stuff. This is obviously the middle of the Second World War. This is a strong hint about stuff. So we've got photographs, postcards. Woohoo! Let's go back to the desk. So this is kind of this is a message kind of doing a little bit of plot. It's from the 10th of August 1914. His Majesty's Government regrets to inform you that your services in the Office of Strategic Service are no longer needed, and termination to be effective immediately. We'll get a little bit more plot on that in a minute. This is what was curious. I was wondering if this was a thing. So, So where was the Hindenburg going? Right. Okay. This is clever. For those of you who aren't amazingly savvy and haven't figured out by this point, you're a Titanic survivor. This is a ticket for the Hindenburg on the day it departed from Frankfurt to its disaster in New Jersey, America. It obviously never made it. safely there, arrived at New Jersey, and then of course the disaster happened and so many lost their life. This implies, and I never noticed this the first time, that you survived it, and look, it's got burn damage at the side. That's something I never noticed before. I noticed it in my trial playthrough. I was like, wow! So, let's roll on the plot.
See here, this isn't about your dedication. Pringle certainly attests to your loyalty, though your dismissal stems from the Titanic mission. That failure can no longer be ignored, especially now. I am sorry, but someone must shoulder the blame. The service, you understand. We can't be held responsible.
Huh. I think there's something missing, because what I thought... Oh, nope. Right on cue. So looking outside in the street, you've got the barrage balloons to stop planes getting too close. But it doesn't help.
The past, forever locked in regret. But what if the past could be changed? Years have come and gone since the night that saw the end of the world, my world. The service needed someone on the Titanic. They chose me. I was to wait for a signal from my contact, so I remained in my cabin. I left only once Georgia was on board. And that's when it came. There'd be no second chance. It was Sunday, April 14th. Too late, you see, for the Titanic. For me. What if I'd met with my contact, prevented disaster? What if the past could be changed? What then?
"20 years since this came out, 20 full years, and that introduction cinematic still gets you. So we're now no longer in our crummy little London apartment. We are on board the glorious RMS Titanic. Is that Smevel? I think it is.
Good evening. I am Smevel.
Oh, Smevels.
Your steward. And, if I may say so, it is good to see you up and about. You've been in your cabin the whole voyage. A touch of the mal de mer, was it?
Seasickness, that is.
Seasickness can be quite unpleasant, especially if it's one's first crossing. Since you haven't been out of your cabin, may I instruct you on how to get assistance while on board the Titanic?
This is basically a tutorial, so... No.
Very well. Your correspondence.
Thank you.
2,200 on board, and they all want messages delivered promptly.
Okay.
Even if it is 1912, and the Titanic, the most advanced means of sea conveyance ever devised, I still have only 2 hands.
Disgruntled.
Here, a map of the ship for you. Compliments of the White Star Line.
Why, thank you, Smevels.
I have taken the liberty of indicating your cabin, C-73. Of course, on a Sunday evening at this hour, there won't be many people out. Will there be anything else?
No.
Have you unpacked? You'll find your trunk key in your bag on the bed. And remember your personal effects, your watch and bag. If you require additional assistance, please ring the bell by the door. Good night.
There we go. Okay, so we're now to our own devices on board the RMS Titanic. How exciting. So in that conversation there, you kind of got a good look at how the game is done. It's basically a photo of a face with you know, kind of Photoshop different elements to kind of convey different expressions and different words and talking and things. It's not good enough to lip read, and it's awful compared to modern standards and graphics, but it still holds up pretty well, and it was revolutionary at the time. I remember seeing it, and I'm like, wow. So let's pick up our pocket watch, the thing that sent us all the way back to 1912. And if you know anything about the date... Can I click on these? Oh. Meet me tonight on the deck. Tell no one, Georgia. Okay. So this is basically a point-and-click adventure. So we've got different elements on our room. So what is this? Oh, it's a menu. Yes, so it's got the date on there. So for those of you who know about the sinking of the Titanic, know what that date means. Ooh, couch. Right, so here's my room. Let's pick up my bag. I've got the bag, and in that bag I've got a key. Perfect. Which means that I can go to my trunk and open that up. And inside are several things. There's a gramophone. Okay, that's basically what I explained before. Now, I know for a fact that there's some stuff. Ooh. Okay, I don't know what this is, but we're gonna try and read it. Okay, so this is the build-up to the First World War, which broke out only 2 years after the sinking of the Titanic. So we've got that secret report, neutral. So we're expecting war. It's actually not what I wanted to click on the ones. Oh god, I'm not reading all that. Nah, fuck that. Right, okay, so is this? Yes. This is an Enigma machine. A form of code breaking. We don't need it just now, but it's there. Alright. Okay. So we'll leave here, and yeah, so this is the RMS Titanic. So we've got two things that we need to do just now. We have to meet Penny by the electric camel, and we have to do this. So welcome on board the RMS Titanic. So I think what we'll do in this episode, so here's Smell. I can't remember his name. So you can interact with some of the people, but not these two. So we'll just pop up the grand staircase. Now this guy. A-deck cabins. We want to speak to this guy.
Oh, hello.
Why, hello.
Don't think we've met. I'm Leyland Sekum Trask, metaphysical scribe and evangelist for the supernatural. I've been in London attending a conference on premonitions among the sensitive.
What is the sensitive?
Sensitives, or psychics, possess increased powers of perception. A gifted psychic can take a personal effect from a complete stranger and tell you all about them.
Fair enough. What do you predict for Titanic?
This is a ship of destiny, which I think you know.
Like, did you do a reading of something? Oh no, I was going to do my pocket watch. Okay.
There's a range, of course, but given the right training, psychics can reveal information hidden to others. Good night.
Excellent. So that is Mr. Trask, and this is quite a famous part of the grand staircase of the Titanic. We've basically got the clock here. Not sure I can zoom in at different levels, but anyway. So can we talk to people? No. So we're now on the very top deck, which is the boat deck just above the A deck, and we're going to go in here, and we are going to meet our first plot contact. So, the gym. You'll find out what an electric camel is, by the way. So this is our contact, and this is a gym. So, fisticuffs. They've just got so many little interactable little tidbits. This is the electric camel. I'll let you figure out why. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so for the last part of this little episode, let us speak to our contact of the day.
Glory be. It's about time. You're late. Another 5 minutes and I'd have cancelled your mission.
Oh dear.
Yes, I'm Pringle. Penny Pringle. From the Bureau of Secret Service. You didn't think they'd plunk you down on this bucket of bolts and millionaires alone, did you?
Oh boy, it's very British.
What a botch up. Some idiot in the War Office booked me into second, not first class.
Oh yeah, that's
I
right.
had a fine time of it, too. The crew wouldn't let me in the first cabin at all. It's just today I located you.
So as you might have seen if you've watched James Cameron Titanic, there's obviously quite a lot of a difference between first class passengers and the lower classes and steerage. They usually weren't allowed to, well, I mean, the first class passengers could go wherever they wanted, but the steerage classes were very limited to being around their own people.
Look at this.
Okay, so we've got
A German colonel named Zeitel. He's inspecting their embassies in Havana, Washington and Mexico City.
Okay.
We know better.
We do?
10 days ago, the Bureau got word that Zeitel has in his possession a priceless copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, stolen 2 months ago in Paris after its purchase by a very highly placed member of His Majesty's government.
Oh dear. What is the Rubaiyat?
The Rubaiyat's a book, a collection of medieval Persian poetry, a passion of his lordship's.
Fair enough, it's a book.
Poetry. Persians. The German High Command must think it's important enough to have their top man smuggle the lot on board. It's your job to find out.
Okay.
His lordship's watching this very closely. Very closely indeed.
Indeed.
I wouldn't fumble this chance either, unless you fancy spending the rest of your career in some grotty Midlands back office shuffling paper about. Have you seen the report? In your trunk? On the international situation?
We have, actually.
I'd jolly well read it if I were you. No. He's with a protégé. Name of Heidelitz, I believe. The two spend a great deal of time in the Café Parisien. Nibbling pastries. Get into the wireless room. I don't know or care how. Officer Morrow wouldn't let me in. See if Zeitel's received or sent any telegrams about the Rubaiyat. You've got a cryptograph in your trunk. It'll unscramble the German codes for you. You use the brains God gave you. Watch people. Listen. When you find the Rubaiyat, knock on my door.
Which cabin are you in?
Cabin F, 34. Use the second class stairs. You should be set. Remember, this is your big chance. Don't fail.
And she is now going to walk off into the distance. So now that you've had a big chunk of plot vomited down your throat, I think this is a good time to call this the end of the very first episode of Titanic, an adventure out of time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!